The sky above Outpost Theta 9 cracked open with a blinding flash. No one saw the attack coming, not even the scanners. One moment, the base was quiet. The next, explosions rocked the ground like thunder. Alien fighters swooped down from orbit, their sleek black wings cutting through the clouds like blades. Sirens screamed. Soldiers scrambled. It wasn't a drill. Private Jason Hawley, a young human soldier, ducked behind a supply crate as a plasma blast shattered the tower above. His ears rang. His heart raced. They're already inside the perimeter. Someone shouted. Jason grabbed his rifle. He wasn't special. He wasn't a hero. Just another guy who signed up for the pay. But today wasn't giving anyone a choice. In the chaos, he saw one of them. An alien warrior, tall, armored, with glowing green eyes. She moved fast, too fast. Her weapon crackled with raw energy. Jason aimed, but she saw him. She lunged. He fired. The blast missed her by inches. She slammed into him, hard. They crashed through the side of a broken wall and tumbled into the old storage bay. Dust and sparks filled the air. Jason reached for his weapon, but she was already standing, aiming her strange gun at him. "Don't move." She barked in perfect Terran English. He froze. She scanned him quickly with a sleek device on her wrist. Her sharp eyes narrowed when the scanner beeped and flashed red. "What is that?" she said, pointing to his waist. Jason blinked. "What is what?" "There's a bulge. What are you hiding?" Her voice grew cold. Jason looked down. His belt pouch held only a few tools, standard issue. "It's nothing. Tools, I swear." "Lie again and I'll paralyze you." She stepped closer. Jason slowly opened the pouch. A wrench. A scanner. A ration bar. Her brow furrowed. The scanner kept flashing. "That's not it," she muttered. "The signal is coming from lower." Jason stiffened. The alien officer motioned toward his body. "Turn around." "Hands on the wall." "Wait, what? I'm not carrying anything dangerous." He protested. Her tone was sharp. "Do it." With shaking hands, Jason did as he was told. She stepped closer, eyes locked on the scanner. Her armor hissed quietly as she moved. Jason could feel the tension in the air. He wasn't sure if he was about to be arrested. Or worse. Then something strange happened. Her scanner glitched briefly. Showed a red spike of heat, then a code she didn't recognize. She frowned. "What is?" she whispered, leaning in. The scanner pulsed again. Jason glanced back. "Look, I don't know what your scanner thinks it sees, but I'm not talking to you," she snapped, studying the screen. Her eyes moved slowly to his lower back, and then to his groin. She froze. Jason noticed. You okay?" She blinked and stepped back, her expression unreadable. "You're not carrying a weapon." "Not exactly, but something." "Biological is registering a strange energy signature." Jason raised an eyebrow. "Biological? You mean me?" "Yes, something in your anatomy," she said, scanning again. "Lady, I'm just a guy. You're probably getting false readings." She looked at him, head tilted. "We don't get false readings." They stared at each other. For a moment, the war outside felt far away. Suddenly, the building shook again. Another blast. She looked toward the door. "We're wasting time," Jason nodded. "Agreed. I have to find my unit." "You're not going anywhere." "You're being detained," he groaned. "For what?" "Having weird body heat?" She said nothing. But her grip tightened on her weapon. Jason sighed. "Fine, but can we not get killed in here while you scan my body?" She hesitated, then nodded. "Come, we'll move together." They stepped cautiously through the broken hallway. Lights flickered. Pipes hissed. Jason glanced sideways at her. "You got a name, officer?" She hesitated. "Tavari. Lieutenant Tavari of the 7th Interceptor Division." Jason, human. Guy who definitely isn't hiding alien tech in his pants. She didn't laugh, but her eyes softened. For a moment, she studied him again, his movements, his energy readings, the way he didn't panic. Something about him didn't match what she was taught about humans. He wasn't weak, he wasn't a threat, but he was confusing, especially that scanner signal. It still pulsed on her wrist. And now, even her armor's biosensors were reacting. To him. She shook her head. Focus. There was a war going on. But part of her mind, the part trained to spot anomalies, whispered something dangerous. He's not just another human. He was different, and she wasn't sure if that was a good thing or the start of a bigger problem. Lieutenant Tavari moved like a shadow beside Jason, her armor smooth and quiet, built for speed and silence. She kept her scanner raised as they crept through the ruined corridor. Every few steps it pulsed again, faint red glow, soft beep, directed at Jason. Jason didn't know what to say anymore. So, you always scan prisoners this much? He asked, half joking. Tavari didn't smile. You're not a normal prisoner. Thanks? He said, voice dry. They reached a sealed bulkhead, half bent from the last explosion. Tavari raised her weapon and signaled Jason to stand back. With one powerful blast, the door hissed and opened partway. They slipped into the med bay. The lights were flickering. Blood streaked the floor. The place was abandoned except for one broken med scanner that still hummed. Tavari marched toward it. Lie down. Jason blinked. What? I need a full body scan. My handheld scanner doesn't explain the signal. But this might? I'm not injured. You might be infected with something, or carrying a hidden device. This is procedure. Jason groaned. Fine. But if it says I'm pregnant, I'm blaming you. Tavari didn't respond. She powered up the scanner, and Jason lay down on the table. The machine beeped and began its sweep, starting at his feet, slowly moving up. Tavari's eyes narrowed at the screen. As it reached Jason's pelvis. The device stuttered, then glowed red again. ALERT, unidentified hybrid signal detected. Energy reading, 92% match with Class 7 core pulse. She stared at the result. Her skin went cold under the armor. What the hell does that mean? Jason asked, sitting up. She didn't answer. Hey, don't go silent on me now. Tavari finally spoke, her voice low and serious. Your body is emitting energy usually only found in alien tech. Highly restricted energy. From weapons or reproduction cores. Jason squinted. You saying I'm a bomb or a baby maker? She ignored the comment. It's not human. No human has this energy signature, but it's coming from you. Jason frowned. You think I'm some kind of experiment? Tavari hesitated. Possibly. Or a weapon built to look human. Either way, you're valuable. Jason got off the table. I'm not a lab rat. I don't care what your scanner says. I was born on Earth. I've never even left the system before this mission. She stepped forward. Then explain the energy. I can't. He snapped. You think I enjoy being treated like a walking mystery? For a second, they just stared at each other. Then she spoke again, softer this time. Where were you born? New Texas colony, Earth-funded. I've got a mother, a deadbeat dad, and a sister who sends me the worst birthday messages ever. I'm not special. Tavari looked down. The scanner said otherwise. Suddenly, voices echoed from the hallway. Alien soldiers. Tavari's body tensed. They're my squad. If they find you, you'll be taken. Jason's eyes widened. And that's bad because they don't ask questions. They dissect. Jason turned pale. Lovely. So what now? Tavari looked at the scanner one last time. Then shut it off. You're coming with me. Quietly. I'll say you're my prisoner. Which I am. Technically, she muttered. She pulled out a set of restraints, but stopped. Her eyes flicked between his hands and her cuffs. Just hold your wrists together. Don't make me lock them. I don't want to explain your readings to anyone. Jason did as told. Tavari guided him back into the hallway. Moments later, 2 alien soldiers turned the corner, both in the same armor as her, their eyes glowing under their helmets. Tavari, one barked. You okay? She nodded. Captured a human soldier. Scanner flagged something odd. Taking him to command. The other soldier glanced at Jason. He looks average. Exactly, Tavari said. That's what makes him dangerous. They let her pass Dot as they walked. Jason whispered, Nice bluff. Tavari didn't answer. Her mind was racing. Back in training, she had learned about the anomaly. A rare signal. A signature thought lost to time. Only found in ancient relics of bioengineered species. Species said to be compatible with many alien types. Her scanner showed Jason's signal matched it. And that changed everything, not just for the war, but for her. If what she saw was true, then Jason wasn't just some lost soldier. He was proof of a forgotten past, maybe even a link between 2 species that had always seen each other as enemies. A connection through biology, through energy. Maybe even something deeper. She stole another glance at him. He didn't look dangerous, but something about him made her heart beat faster, and she hated not knowing why. The war outside raged on. But inside the silent transport corridor, it felt like time slowed. Lieutenant Tavari walked fast, her grip firm on Jason's arm. To others, it looked like she was escorting a prisoner, but her steps weren't full of pride. They were full of doubt. Jason noticed. You keep glancing at me like I'm about to explode, he whispered. If I do, you have permission to run. She didn't smile. I'm still thinking. About cutting me open? He said. This time, her voice was lower. About whether you're even fully human. Jason's chest tightened. You're serious? Your energy signature doesn't match any known human biology, but it matches something else. Something. Ancient. Forbiddance. Jason blinked. Forbiddance? Before she could answer, they reached a security checkpoint. 2 guards stepped forward, weapons ready. New prisoner? One asked. Tavari nodded sharply. Private from the Earth front. Needs to be processed. The guards looked at Jason. You sure he's not just another soft-bodied grunt? The other asked. Tavari's scanner blinked. Faintly. My readings say otherwise. The guards didn't press. Processing bay's full. Take him to the side cell. Tavari nodded and pulled Jason past the checkpoint. Once out of earshot, he whispered, Side cell? That doesn't sound fun. It's isolated, she said. No cameras, no guards, safer for you. He looked at her. You're protecting me, aren't you? Tavari stopped. I don't know why, she said. But something tells me if they get their hands on you, this war won't end, it'll get worse. Jason stayed quiet. For once, he understood the fear behind her calm face. They entered the side-holding cell, a room made of cold metal, with only a light, a bench, and silence. Tavari turned, locking the door behind them. She leaned against it, as if guarding both him and herself. Jason sat down, exhaling. This day's been wild. I woke up with coffee and a stale ration bar. Now I'm in an alien prison cell with a beautiful officer pointing scanners at my Stop talking, she muttered, cheeks darkening. Jason smirked. It's true, though. She ignored him and pulled out her scanner again. It blinked. Jason's signature was stable but glowing stronger now. Almost like it was reacting to something in the room. Or to her. She stepped closer. I need to try something. Hold still. He raised his eyebrows. Is this going to hurt? No, maybe. Depends. Comforting. She touched a hidden panel on her wrist device and changed the scanner mode to resonance testing. Her glove brushed his forearm and the scanner spiked. Jason gasped. The entire scanner glowed red, and a strange hum filled the air. Tavari stared in shock. "What is that sound?" he asked. "It's resonance," she whispered. "You're sinking." "With my armor. With my tech." Jason stood. "Why would I do that?" She looked up at him, her voice quiet but shaking. "Because your body recognizes it, like it's been here before. Or something inside you has." Jason took a step back. "Are you saying I'm part alien?" "I don't know." She looked at him with something between fear and curiosity. "But you shouldn't be able to do that." Jason ran a hand through his hair. "Maybe I was adopted. Maybe Earth lied. Maybe I'm just cursed." She stayed silent. Then suddenly, her communicator buzzed. She pressed it. "Tavari," a voice said. "Command wants all high-signal prisoners brought in." Immediately, Jason paled. Tavari answered, "Copy that. Still scanning. Will report shortly." She turned it off, her jaw tight. "They're coming for you," she said. "I can't stop it much longer." Jason looked at her, truly worried now. "What are you going to do?" Tavari stared at him. For a moment, she didn't feel like a soldier. She felt like a person. "I'm going to trust my instincts," she said. Then she reached into her armor and pulled out a small device, a cloaking patch. She slapped it on Jason's chest. Instantly, his energy signature dropped from the scanner. Jason looked down. "What did you do?" "Masked you, temporarily, but it won't last long." "Why?" "Because I don't think you're a prisoner anymore." Jason blinked. "Then what am I?" She hesitated. Then, softly, "You're a key." Jason stepped closer. "To what?" Tavari stared into his eyes, her voice low. "To ending this war. Or starting a new one." Asterisk, the cloaking patch on Jason's chest blinked softly dim pulses that kept his energy hidden. For now, Lieutenant Tavari stared at it, unsure if she was helping a potential ally or making the worst mistake of her life. Jason broke the silence. "If I'm really some kind of key, why me?" She looked up. "I don't know yet, but I've read old records, classified files. Thousands of years ago, there was a program, one that used human DNA, blended with other species. It was abandoned. Everyone believed the hybrids were wiped out." Jason frowned. "You're saying I'm a leftover from some ancient alien experiment?" Tavari nodded slowly. "Or your ancestors were." Jason sat on the bench. "No wonder your scanner freaked out. I've probably got glow-in-the-dark organs." She didn't smile, but there was a softness in her eyes now. A shift. Not as a soldier. Not as an officer, but as someone. Human in her own way. Then a deep voice came from the hall. "Lieutenant Tavari, open the door." Her eyes widened. "It's Commander Cernak." Jason stood, alarmed. "Friend of yours?" She shook her head. "No, he's the one I don't want finding you." The metal door banged again. "Lieutenant, I will enter with force if you delay." Jason moved toward the back corner of the room, searching for anything. A vent, a pipe, anything he could hide in or behind. Tavari stepped close and whispered fast, "Stay behind me. Let me talk." He nodded with a hiss. She opened the door. Commander Cernak entered, towering, his armor thick and pulsing with blue energy. His glowing eyes scanned the room. "Where is the human?" Tavari stepped forward. "Gone. Transfer order came from Sector 3. They rerouted him before I got confirmation." Cernak narrowed his eyes. "That's strange." "I checked Sector 3. Myself. No transport left." Tavari didn't flinch. "Then someone's interfering." He stepped past her, slowly scanning the room with his wrist device. Jason stayed still behind her, holding his breath. The cloaking patch flickered, one more glitch and he'd be exposed. The commander stared at the scanner. Curious. Residual. Energy lingers here, strong but fading. Could be mine, Tavari said quickly. I scanned him earlier. Energy sometimes sticks. Cernak gave her a long look. I'll check the logs myself. In the meantime, report to command, immediately. Yes, sir. He left without another word. The door shut. Jason exhaled hard. That was close. Tavari turned to him. Too close. We can't stay here anymore. Where then? She opened a hidden wall panel. Inside was a tunnel, barely big enough for one person. Escape shaft. Maintenance only. Leads to old hangar tunnels. Jason blinked. You had this the whole time? I wasn't sure I could trust you yet. Jason smirked. And now? Tavari looked into his eyes. Now? I think you're more than a mystery. You might be our future. Jason didn't know what to say. Her words felt heavier than before. They crawled into the shaft together, one behind the other. The air was warm, filled with dust and the distant hum of war machines. After 10 minutes of crawling, they reached an old access tunnel abandoned. Dark and strangely silent. They stood up slowly. Jason glanced around. Looks like no one's been here in years. Tavari nodded. This base was built over a forgotten lab, a human-alien lab. Rumor said it was used during the hybrid program, before it was destroyed. Jason's heart raced. You brought me here for a reason. Yes, she said, voice steady. If there's a place that can answer what you are, it's below us. She moved a metal grate aside, revealing stairs leading deep underground. As they descended, walls changed. Smooth metal became ancient stone. Symbols carved into the rock glowed faintly as Jason passed. Tavari stopped. They're reacting to you. Jason stared. What do they say? She traced a glowing mark with her fingers. It's old code. Very old. Says, when human light touches alien stone, the gate shall open. Jason laughed nervously. I don't like the word gate. Sounds ominous. They reached the final chamber. At the center stood a circular platform, half machine, half living. Tissue. It pulsed slowly like a heart. Jason stepped forward. It lit up. Tavari gasped. It recognizes you. Jason turned. What do I do? She stepped beside him. You touch it, he swallowed. Then, slowly, he reached out and placed his hand on the surface. The entire chamber glowed. Symbols on the walls came to life. And a voice echoed through the room, deep and ancient. Hybrid signature confirmed. Welcome home, bearer of the seed. Tavari looked at Jason in shock. Jason, what did you just wake up? The glowing chamber pulsed like a heartbeat. Jason's hand still rested on the strange platform, now warm beneath his fingers. The voice that had just spoken echoed again through the ancient lab walls. Bearer of the seed. Activation complete. Jason pulled his hand back quickly. Okay, that doesn't sound creepy at all. Tavari didn't answer. She was too focused on the glowing symbols spinning around the room, floating lights. Ancient runes that reacted only when Jason had touched the device. He turned to her. What's going on? What does bearer of the seed mean? Tavari shook her head slowly. I've only read about this in the lost records. The hybrids. They weren't just created for research or strength. They were created for connection. To carry something rare. Jason blinked. Carry what? She hesitated, then said the word softly. A gene. A piece of code that could connect species, bridge them. It's said to contain elements of old alien empires, hidden knowledge, and something more. Jason raised a brow. So you're saying I'm some kind of universal flash drive? Tavari didn't smile. You're not just holding information. You are the key to something ancient, something powerful. The symbols on the walls rearranged into a strange pattern. Then a hologram appeared, a humanoid figure with glowing lines. Across its skin. The figure spoke. To those who awaken the chamber, beware. The seed is not just a gift, it is a burden, a signal. Others will come. Jason stepped back. Wait, others? The hologram continued. When the bearer is active, the old guardians are drawn to the light. They will seek to reclaim or destroy what they once lost. Tavari's eyes darkened. This isn't just a lab, it's a warning system. Suddenly, the chamber shook, dust falling from the ceiling. Jason looked around. That wasn't just a coincidence, was it? Tavari tapped her wrist device. No. Something just dropped into orbit. A ship. Jason's blood went cold. A ship? Whose? She checked again. Unknown. But it's not from our fleet. Not from Earth either. Another tremor shook the floor. The hologram flickered, then vanished. Tavari grabbed Jason's arm. We have to move. Now. They ran back through the narrow tunnel, up the stairs, and into the old maintenance hall. But things had changed. The air felt heavy. Electric. Tavari's communicator buzzed violently. All units prepare for breach. Unknown hostiles detected. Unknown technology. They are not responding to comms. Jason looked at her. I think we triggered something. She nodded, her voice sharp. You didn't just wake up ancient tech, you sent out a beacon. Something's coming for you, Jason frowned. That's not fair. I didn't ask for this. You're not the first weapon who didn't ask to be built, she replied. That hit harder than he expected. They moved fast through the old tunnels, deeper into the forgotten sections of the base. But Jason's thoughts were racing. What was he really? Why him? Why now? As they reached a sealed hatch, Tavari placed her hand on a panel, and it hissed open to reveal a storage bay with half-functioning drones and broken machines. She led him to a small capsule-like container in the corner. What's this? He asked. A shielded pod? It'll block your signal for a while. Jason looked inside. It was barely big enough for one person. You want me to hide? She didn't. Look at him. I need to protect you. You're more important than you realize. He stepped closer to her. Why are you really helping me? She met his gaze. At first, it was curiosity. Then it was duty. But now, she stopped herself. Jason waited. But now, she spoke slowly. Now, I think the universe doesn't make mistakes. Maybe you're not here to be studied or dissected. Maybe you're here to change something. Maybe even someone. Jason blinked, his heart racing for reasons that had nothing to do with energy readings. He reached out and touched her hand. And for the first time, she flinched. Her armor buzzed, reacting to his touch. The scanner on her wrist lit up again. Jason looked down. That's still happening? Tavari stared at the screen. Your body is syncing with mine. That's not possible unless what? She whispered, unless we're compatible. They stared at each other, but before they could speak, the base lights flickered red. An alarm blared. Warning. Unknown life form breaching main corridor. All personnel evacuate immediately. Tavari's eyes widened. They found us. Jason climbed into the pod, voice firm now. Go, stall them. I'll be okay. She didn't want to leave, but she nodded as the pod sealed shut, their eyes locked one last time. No words were needed, because deep down, they both knew whatever was coming wasn't just looking for Jason. It was coming for both of them. Asterisk. The base trembled again, this time deeper, like something was crawling beneath it. Lieutenant Tavari stood alone in the storage bay, staring at the now sealed pod where Jason was hidden. Her hand hovered near her weapon, but her thoughts were louder than the alarms. Something ancient had awakened, and it was hunting the human. She turned quickly and locked the bay from the inside. If anything came through, they'd have to go through. Her first her cum buzzed with static, then a desperate voice broke through. Sector 3 overrun. They aren't responding to plasma. Our weapons do nothing. What are these things? Tavari's blood chilled. She knew what they were. Not soldiers. Not invaders. Collectors. Creatures from myth, created long ago to retrieve hybrid seeds. Silent, merciless, and unstoppable. Every legend about them ended the same. Total extinction of anything that got in their way. A sudden clang echoed through the hallway. Tavari turned fast. Weapon raised. From the dark came a shape tall, pale, with armor grown like bone and eyes glowing silver. It didn't speak. It didn't move. Like a living thing. It walked as if death was patient. She fired. The blast hit it in the chest and did nothing. No sparks. No burn. Just silence. The creature kept walking. Tavari backed up slowly, pressing a hidden panel behind her. The floor around the pod dropped. Slightly, beginning a timed descent into the old tunnels. Jason was going deeper. Toward safety. Hopefully. Another shot. Nothing. Then the creature moved faster. She barely rolled aside as its long, sharp arm stabbed into the metal wall where she'd just been standing. She activated her energy blade, short, glowing, pulsing with heat, and slashed upward. The weapon grazed the collector's side, leaving a shallow burn. It screamed. Finally. She had found a weakness, but it was already recovering. Single quotes VAARI leaped back, blood racing as she pressed her communicator. Command. This is Lieutenant Tavari. We have a code black. A collector has breached the base. The reply was silence. Then static. Then a whisper. They want the seed? Tavari turned off the comm. No more talking. She activated her armor's overdrive boosters in. Her boots fired, launching her toward the beast. With a war cry, she slammed the blade into its neck. The collector staggered, then grabbed her by the arm and threw her across the room. She hit the wall hard, gasping. Her vision blurred. It approached slowly again, but as it raised its blade-like arm, something changed in the room. The pod door cracked open. Jason stepped out, eyes glowing faintly. Hey, ugly, he said, voice low. The collector turned. Jason lifted one hand, and without warning the chamber lights pulsed, and a wave of invisible force blasted outward. The collector was thrown across the room, slamming into the wall like a ragdoll. Tavari's jaw dropped. Jason stood in the middle of the room, breathing hard as the glowing marks from the lab shimmered faintly on his skin. His eyes were still human, but something else was inside them now. Something old, something powerful. He turned to her. I don't know what that was, but I felt it. Inside me. Like instinct. Tavari pushed herself up. The seed. You've fully awakened. Jason looked at his hands. I didn't try to. It just happened. Behind him, the collector slowly rose again. Damaged. Angry. Jason stepped forward. But Tavari grabbed his arm. No. You can't fight it alone. He looked at her. Then let's fight together. She smiled. Now you sound like one of us. The collector charged. Jason and Tavari moved as one, her blade slicing down, his energy bursting outward. Together, their attacks collided with the creature, and this time, it shattered. Pieces of it melted like wax, vanishing into black mist. The room fell silent again. Only their heavy breathing remained. Jason sank to the ground, clutching his chest. I feel different, like something in me is awake, watching. Tavari knelt beside him. It's the hybrid code. It doesn't just change your body. It connects you to all the others. To the past. Jason looked at her. So are there more like me? Tavari hesitated. Maybe. But if collectors came this fast, they've been searching for a long time. You're the first one they found in centuries, he nodded. Which means they'll keep coming. She reached out and touched his hand. Then we'll Keep running until we find the truth and others like you. Jason met her gaze. You're not leaving me? Her voice was steady. You're not just a mission anymore. They sat together in the quiet, surrounded by the remains of a battle that wasn't supposed to happen. But it had, because he existed. Asterisk, the base was falling apart. Alarms blared across every corridor and warning lights turned the walls red. But inside the quiet storage bay, Jason and Tavari stood in silence, surrounded by the remains of a collector. Jason looked down at his hands. Faint golden lines still pulsed beneath his skin, fading slowly, but they weren't gone. He whispered, I'm not just human anymore, am I? Tavari looked at him gently. You're something new. Something we thought was lost forever. Jason turned to her. You said others like me might exist. She nodded. Yes, but if they do, they're hidden. Maybe in stasis, maybe scattered across the galaxy. You could be the first one awake in thousands of years. Jason's heart pounded. Then we have to find them. Tavari stepped closer. You're not alone anymore. You never have to be. Suddenly, a sharp sound cut through the comms, one last voice from the command tower. Unknown vessel. Descending structure collapsing coordinates zeroed on hybrid signal escape immediately. Tavari looked up. They're trying to take the whole base down to stop the signal. Jason's eyes widened. Can we make it out? Tavari tapped a hidden control panel in the wall. A section of floor opened to reveal a small escape. Shuttle, prototype, she said quickly, fast and quiet. We can reach orbit before the station explodes. Jason stepped in. Then let's go. As they launched, the base behind them cracked in half. Explosion shook the ground, and fire lit up the sky. Tavari piloted the shuttle through the smoke with perfect focus, her hands steady. Jason watched her, half amazed, half terrified. Do all alien officers fly like this? He asked, gripping the seat. She smirked. Only the ones who break orders to protect strange humans with glowing bones. Jason chuckled, but deep down he felt something else. A storm was coming. As they entered orbit, a new alert flashed across the console. Tavari frowned. Jason leaned over. What is it? She pointed to a symbol on the screen, not one from her people. A golden spiral surrounded by 6 stars. Jason's pulse quickened. That symbol, I saw it in the lab on the walls. Tavari nodded. It's the old mark of the hybrid code. Then the screen zoomed out. A massive ship was approaching, but it wasn't like anything from her military. It wasn't collector-made either. It was ancient, covered in vines of metal and breathing like a living thing. Tavari whispered, That's a seed ship. Jason's eyes widened. What does that mean? She stared at the screen, as stunned as he was. It means we weren't the only ones watching. That ship carries knowledge. Maybe even others like you. Jason looked at the growing shape outside the window. Then it followed the signal too. A voice suddenly echoed in the shuttle, not from speakers, but from inside their minds. Hybrid confirmed. Host compatible. Accepting connection. Now? Jason gasped. His mind flooded with flashes, images of old worlds, of sleeping beings inside crystal chambers, and of battles long forgotten. Then he heard something clearer. Jason Hawley, bearer of the seed, choose your path. He opened his eyes and looked at Tavari. They want me to go with them. To learn, to awaken the others. Tavari stayed quiet. Jason reached out and held her hand. But I don't want to do it alone. Tavari swallowed hard. Are you sure? That ship? It's not like anything we know. If you go, you may never come back. Jason stared at her with a calm strength in his voice. Then come with me. If I'm becoming something more, I want to stay human too. And you remind me how. Tavari looked at him, her armor cracked, her hair singed from battle. but her eyes glowing with something deep. "You're the only human I've ever wanted to follow into the unknown." They joined hands and stepped into the beam of light that pulled them from the shuttle. Inside the seed ship, everything was silent. No crew, no footsteps, but in the walls, stasis pods glowed, dozens of them. And as Jason passed, some of them flickered back to life. The hybrids were waking. He turned to Tavari. "This is just the beginning," she nodded. "Then let's make sure the galaxy is ready for it." And together, they walked forward, into the heart of something old. Into a future no one could control. But one thing was certain. Now humanity was no longer alone, and the galaxy would never be the same again. Asterisk.